Alright, this is my 97 Cavalier, and it needs some front brakes. Roll this. Can you hear that? That squeaking sound? That sound is the wear indicator. I will show you what that is here in just a minute. But we're going to put on some brand new brake pads. Right here. Okay. Get it in the light here where you can see what I'm looking at. See those little clips or little metal pieces hanging off right there? That is your wear indicator. You see how the friction material, which is this part, is really thick on this one? It's brand new. Once it gets down to the same level as the wear indicator, that starts rubbing on the disc, and it tells you, hey, you need to change your pads. There we go. Now we got some light. Yeah, that's better. Okay, first thing you do, you have to get everything jacked up. I've jacked the vehicle up, and I have some stuff supporting it here. It's not sitting on the jack. Don't ever work on a car just sitting on a jack, especially one of these little factory jacks like that, because you cannot depend on them. I mean, they're fine for changing a flat because you're not under the car or anything, or not anywhere where you're going to get fallen on, but after we pull this off and we get back in there where all the brake stuff is, you'll see what I'm talking about. You got to reach back in there and stuff. So yeah, anyway, let's get tearing into it. Alrighty. But look at here. Sorry for the camera work there. Okay, where's it at? There it is. See the little wear indicator? It's this piece right here. And you can see that it is rubbing on the rotor. And that is what's making my noise, and that's what's my warning. Okay, to get this brake caliper off, you need one of these. It's an Allen head. Not even sure, this is old. Also, it was borrowed once, and the person kept it for 6 months, and when I got it back, it looked like this. I think they had it in the back of their truck or something. Yeah, I don't remember what size it was, but I had to buy it because it goes right back in here. That's the only thing you can use to get that out. You also need some of this. Where's it at? Yeah. Because if you don't spray this down, you're not going to get that bolt out. And you got to be careful with these bolts too, because you don't want to wring them off. I'll spray them down pretty good. It would have been a good idea, really, yesterday to have sprayed this down really good and just let it sit, but I didn't. So we are going to give it a try and see what we can do. Said we were. Wow, they are good and tight. I'll tell you what. And I'm going to try a piece of pipe. Slipped over the end. Cheater pipe. See if we can have any luck with that. Yep. When you use a cheater pipe like that for extra leverage, don't just give it all you got, because ease into it. Because you just go all at once and go Hulk on it, you're liable to break the bolt, and then you'll be buying a bolt. And you may have trouble getting the bolt out, you know, the rest of the bolt out, so just go crazy on it. Now there is another one down there, same thing. Choose your pipe carefully. Make sure you hit the camera. Okay, now you need something to, I'm just going to use this little tire tool thing. Cheapo tire tool. It actually comes with this car, but the first time I tried to use it, it just split. So I got a better one in there now. But anyway, you just want to get in here. Try to push that caliper, preferably without scratching the paint on the car. Enough that you can just pull the whole thing off. And here it is. Old pads. Okay, you don't want to leave the caliper hanging by the hose, so it will weaken it. And here is the one pad. The thing was about gone right here, and you can see where the wear indicator has been rubbing on the disc. The other side is actually not as bad. And this rotor, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and get a rotor because it's wore a little thin, or looks thin to me. I don't know how thin these are to begin with. This side looks good, but as you could see on the brake pads, this side, which is what was on the outside, like this, we were very much quicker than the inside one. You can see the difference. Yeah, this one was gone. Alright, so best thing to do is to get another rotor. And I just happen to have one right here. Brand new rotor. And I'll show you the difference. Here we go. Here's the new one. And the old one. This one, trash. This one is what we're going to use. Put oil on them to keep them from rusting. That's what all this is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break my well, okay, maybe it'll still work. Okay, need to get all that oil off. This part really, it's not that critical, but the part that contacts the pads needs to be clean of oil. I mean, it would burn off, but just better to clean it. Alrighty. That should be good for that. Now we just start putting stuff back on. Put that on. Okay, brake pads and the rotor are thicker now, so this piston right here has pushed out and it's pretty much self-adjusted to pads that are thin. So what you've got to do, you've got to drive this piston back into the caliper. The way I do that, there are special tools for it, but the way I do it is I use a C-clamp like this right here. I'll put it, and it should fall right back in there. And it is. Okay. It's all the way back in. Now, we will put our shoes on, pads. I need one of those, and I need one of these. Of course, you have 4 pads in the pack, so you just look at them and compare them to the old ones and make sure that they're the same pad, because I have before gotten the wrong pad from the parts house, so you got to make sure you get the right ones. And they just there we go. Okay, that should just seat right down in there. This one has the spring on it that goes inside of the piston, just like this. Both of them are in there. One more thing, if I can get them to come out, and twist that hose a little bit. This one will come out pretty easy. I thought. Said it would. There we go. Okay. I've got this little packet of the quickest tube in it. This stuff right here. Put this on these pins, because you want these pins to slide freely. You have to make sure that you lubricate them. And don't just use regular grease on it. This stuff gets hot. There's a lot of friction here. I mean, if there wasn't friction, you wouldn't stop. So that's the whole point, is to have the friction. So, if you use regular grease, it's just going to burn up. I need some inside of that too. See, there's a pin that slides inside here, and then there's this other pin too. Now make sure you get them both to where they move freely. See how that's moving real good? That's what you want. Put some of it, oh, there we go. Oh, well, that's all it needed. Now it's moving freely. Alright. Now, just the same thing you do to take it apart, you do to put it together. Alright. Make sure these are pretty good and tight when you do this. You don't want your object that stops your vehicle to fall off. It wouldn't be recommended anyway. So, alright, we got everything on. You notice there's still a gap there. We'll take that up with pumping the brakes when it's time. But now you just put the tire on. Cool. Okay, this side's done too. That's pretty quick. I wish it were that quick in real life. There we go. Okay, one more thing before you try to drive off after replacing your brakes. Turn on this light. Pull your emergency brake up and start the car. Now, if you try pumping the brakes, you're going to feel that the brakes go down farther than what they feel like they should. Just keep pumping. You're closing up all the gaps that you just made. Okay, it's starting to feel a little better now. Now you can pull her down into gear. Let off carefully of your emergency brake. And then what you want to do is give it a try a few times. Alrighty, I say that stops very well. You want to do this, of course, do this brake test in a safe location because, yeah. Old Buster was probably a little scared because I come at him pretty quick. But it all worked. I guess that'll be about it for right now. Well, that's gonna be my video. This procedure, the same way that you put brakes on this one, pretty much any GM car, pretty much any front disc brake car works exactly the same. You may have some different fasteners or something like that, but that'll about do it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.